But we begin tonight with the murder of Chris Bush. There have been few announcements like this in the history of New Zealand policing. A media statement at 11:08 this morning that began, police have now charged 2 men in relation to the 1987 murder of Chris Bush at Maramarua, 30 years on. For those of you too young to remember or too new to New Zealand to know about it at all, the staff of the Red Fox Tavern were having a drink after work. 2 men burst in, armed and heavily disguised. Chris Bush stood up and was shot dead. A huge police investigation began. At the time, Tony Bouchier, who later became a criminal lawyer, was a senior sergeant with the police. He remembers it 30 years on vividly, such an unusual, inexplicable event, so terrible for the Bush family and so shocking for the country.
Yes, everybody was staggered by it. As I say, it affected the family were just devastated by it. The community out there was devastated by it. In fact, the people in the liquor industry just couldn't believe it. I had a lot of contact with people at that time who were in the hotel trade, and it really just shocked them to the core. People, the New Zealand public, were looking for a result. And I know the investigative team worked very hard to get a result. They left no stone unturned. And I'm picking that it was the detailed work that they did 30 years ago that hopefully has some connection with the result that's happened today.
Yes, there is a sense, and obviously it's really important we don't in any way predetermine an outcome of the trial or do anything to contaminate the jury pool. This is really important in a case like this. But there is a sense that it was evidence collected at the time that has been meaningful in the assessment of the veracity of these prosecutions.
Yes, and 30 years ago, the CIB just did not have some of the tools that the CIB have got now in the investigation process. Hopefully it is evidence that was preserved from that time that has lasted the test of time, which is now subject to the modern science that police rely on in investigating serious matters.
Tony, your job was to keep this before the public, wasn't it? Because there was a sense that somebody would come forward.
Yeah, I was the media officer for the Auckland region at the time, and whenever there was a serious inquiry, I would join the inquiry team and do the media on it. And this particular case, to me, success was getting on the front page of the Dom or the Herald and that sort of thing. And I recall, I think we had 7, 8, 9 days in a row where we actually made the front page. Now, that really was a reflection on the attitude that people had, the shock that people had of that. Yes. And so our job was to get it out there and to see how the public could assist. That still happens today. The police still rely on the public to assist in clearing these crimes.
Did you get tips? Did the public come forward and offer suggestions, information? Were there lots of leads that didn't take you anywhere?
There's that sort of publicity always leads to leads. There's always people who really want to be helpful, and it's for the police, the inquiry team at the time, as it happens now, to filter what's helpful, what's not helpful, what needs to be pursued. And certainly the publicity back then led police in all sorts of directions. Enormously frustrating to that CIB team who worked months and months, huge number of hours. The resources that were thrown at it were absolutely huge. And it was a big team, and I would imagine every one of those detectives who are alive today, and some are no longer with us, every time they drive past the Red Fox Tavern, and they think about that homicide and that aggravated robbery, and hoped that it would be cleared.
And they will be so relieved today.
I'm sure that there are a lot of people out there relieved today that there is a result, and obviously we can't discuss anything beyond that, but there is a result. The CIB that works today is as good as those that have gone in the past, and I'm quite sure that they think that they've got the evidence.
Tony Bouchier, who was a senior sergeant at the time, became a senior barrister.